she has hockey. She texted me or emailed me, and she has hockey. But I believe she'll be at the combined Board of Ed, Board of Admin meeting. All right. All right, so it being 11 o'clock and to be cognizant of everyone's time, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I do not expect this meeting to last 3 hours today. That being said, there may be some, Kathy, did you grab there's a sheet right beside you. I do expect that we may have more meetings out of this meeting. And now it may not be this group. It may be a combination of some of this group and maybe some of the congregants. But the purpose of this meeting today is to share what the budget is, okay? Share where we're at. Give you guys some information about what we have in process right now, and give you some of the ideas that I have seen. Now, I'm going to be forthcoming. I am not a financial guru, period. Okay? When it comes to fundraising for youth gatherings, maybe. That's pretty easy, but that's only a year and a half. This is something that we are going to have to tackle. And I do want to lead off as this is not a problem that is new to Immanuel. I think we all are aware of that. Immanuel in the past, I believe, has had to take out loans to pay bills. We're not at that point. We don't want to get that point, and that's why we're starting this conversation. So to start off, I would like to start with the devotion. The scripture reading comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 2. Moreover, it is required of stewards that they be found trustworthy. Stewardship is an essential part of church leadership, and it involves more than just financial management. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 2 reminds us that stewards are required to be trustworthy. Church council members entrusted with overseeing the church's resources must manage them with integrity. This includes not only the financial resources, but also the people, the time, and the opportunities God has provided. When leaders manage these resources well, they honor God and ensure that the church can continue its mission effectively. Integrity in stewardship involves transparency, accountability, and a commitment to use resources wisely. Council members should approach church finances with the same care they would their own personal finances, always seeking God's wisdom and direction. This is not just about making wise decisions, it's about honoring God's work through honest and ethical practices. By being good stewards, church leaders build trust within the congregation and set a powerful example for others. Stewardship also involves preparing the church for future growth. This means not only managing current resources, but planning for what's to come. Church council members must make decisions that will set the church up for long-term success. Good stewardship ensures that resources are used in ways that benefit the church, its ministries, and its mission, both now and in the future. And I have a prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the resources you have entrusted to us as leaders. We recognize that managing these resources is not just a practical responsibility, but a spiritual one. Help us to be wise stewards, making decisions that honor you and further your work. Guide us as we allocate funds, manage time, and direct the use of all resources you've given us. May we always approach our responsibilities with integrity, transparency, and a deep sense of accountability to you. Lord, we also ask for your guidance and planning for the future. Help us to be proactive in preparing for the growth of your church, school, and child care center, ensuring that the resources we steward today will support the work of tomorrow. We trust in your provision and your wisdom, and we give you thanks for the opportunity to serve you through good stewardship. Amen. All right. So on the agenda today, we're going to go over the finances. current plans, where do we go from here, and next steps. If you turn into your packet, the very first page should have a number 1. This goes over the budget for this year. Okay? It says profit and loss budget overview. So the reason I included this today, I wanted to bring some numbers to your attention. And I didn't highlight them, and I apologize for that, but I do have the line. So if you go to line 110, which is, sorry, 11011, current offerings, it says $466,167. That equals about $38,847 a month that we need from offerings. Okay? Go for it.
This is all budget numbers.
This is budget numbers. Yep. The next sheet has what we are currently. Okay? If you go to weekly offerings, which includes our missions, building funds, special funds, go missions, that comes out to $41,203 per month. That is budgeted, okay? From the school, and where it says school income, I do want to make you guys all aware, that also includes our child care center, okay? That comes to $52,229 per month that we need budgeted per month. So when you look at gross profit, the total that we need each month, and I just went by month, is $93,433. $93,433 per month.
That's every month, not just school months?
That's every month.
Okay.
Yep.
For school and church?
School and church and child care center. So that is our total budget income that we expect. Okay? Now, when you go, that we need.
That we need or that we budgeted?
That we budgeted. Yes.
We didn't budget.
That's what we voted on.
That's what we voted on. This is the voted on budget. If you go to expenses, and total 21000 church personnel expenses, that total is $26,610 per month that we spend. Non-personnel expenses is $5,670 per month.
Can I ask another question?
Mm-hmm.
This will probably be for Kathy, but what is payroll expenses? Oh, yeah.
That would be under the Medicare FICA that we have to pay
So taxes.
taxes.
And is there a reason that that is $18,000 more than the year before budget? That seems like an awful lot of increase.
Are you looking at ed?
No, I'm looking at the information that I got at the last reporter's meeting. But it was listed as 41,000 last year, which is $18,000 increase. So I'm curious what that is.
This is just what we budgeted it, and I'm not saying it's gonna be correct.
So, and I think part of it was the raises that we gave this year. They were fairly significant in that sense. So I think you built that into the current budgeted expense. Okay.
And part of the benefits, did that also include expectation of insurance going up, health insurance?
That wouldn't be part of payroll expenses, correct? That's from non-personnel expenses, I believe.
Plus with the raises, then the retirement also.
But the insurance should be in the benefits part,
Correct.
correct?
the non-personal expenses, if I remember correctly.
No, there's
Church benefits line is what the health insurance is.
What's that?
210.98 church benefits.
21098, okay, church benefits.
Okay, and that would be healthcare. So the benefits is health? Is it insurance as well? Or no?
Benefits would be your healthcare, your retirement,
Retirement.
disability, plus the HSA that we have as a.
Right. So the other payroll expenses?
So again, so looking at the, so each month, we need $26,610 to pay for salaries, $5,670 to pay for benefits. When you look at the school, we need approximately $65,910. That's, you go to school personal expenses, that's line 22000. And if you go to non-personal expenses, that's equals out to 13,592.
Can you repeat those last two?
Yep. So school, $65,910 per month. School, $13,592 for the non-personal, which is line 232. So total, if you go to 200, which is on the back side, budgeted out was $111,784 a month. That's what was passed this last year. Okay? This does not include, Kathy, correct me if I'm right, if I'm wrong, not right. This does not include the $220,000 removal from endowments. Okay? So, this is what was passed, number one. All right? Number two is profit and loss for this year, starting July 1st, which is when our fiscal year starts, to December 7th, the first week in December. Okay? So on the left-hand side, that is weekly. Okay? I'm concentrating more on the right-hand side, the July 1st to December 7th, 2025. So, in that 5 months, church offerings, which is line 11001, on average per month has averaged $44,073. Church total, so that includes gifts, things like that, not including, again, this does not include endowments, was $44,538. So that's 11000, where it says income. Sorry. Where it says church income.
So you said 44,000 in church offerings per month.
Correct.
So can I just put a little side out there?
Mm-hmm.
I've been involved with Mantequilla Main Street with the Marshfield. I'm proud of everybody. At the end of the day, it's really hard to raise that kind of money ever.
Yeah.
So the fact that we have a family here that has given that much money per month, I don't want to lose sight of that.
No.
That's pretty huge.
No.
Because when I was on Main Street, it was hard getting $5,000 from a big business. So the fact that we have people within our church that feel to give like that shows what we're capable of.
Right.
So that, I just want to acknowledge that. Being a newbie, I'm impressed by that.
No, I am too, because if you look at it, that is about, I'm not great at math, that's about $3,000 more a month that was not, but that's above our budget, okay? That does not, that takes into account a little bit, doesn't really actually take into account Advent. Okay? It does not take into account Christmas, Christmas Eve, New Year's. So obviously, that usually we tend to have a higher contribution. Okay? So, all right. School total, for now, this is a little higher. School total, which is 1,2,000, was $62,235 per month. Okay? Now, that being said, we all know that at the beginning of the school year, a lot of the tuition is paid up front. Okay? I'll be honest, that's how it is. I'm sure there are some people who continue to pay throughout the year, but we would expect, and I'm sorry, that's also childcare. Sorry. My bad, Brooke. Again, childcare and school, $62,235. Our budgeted was $52,000. So right now, that's $10,000 above what was budgeted for income. Okay? I don't want us to lose sight of the positives that we have. Okay? And this budget came from a lot of time with the Board of Admin looking at, and Kathy, looking at previous years. We have those numbers available now from previous years that up until 2 years ago, we didn't have. So I want to make sure we've kind of take that into account too. So that total, our total for the year per month so far, and that's 5 months of our fiscal year, is $106,773. Okay? Per month. Again, previously I said $93,433 per month is what we were budgeting to bring in. Okay? It's about $13,000 more a month. Now, expenses. If you look at church personnel, which is 210,000, our current expenses per month right now are $25,861 per month. Non-personal church is $5,250 per month.
Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
For the non-personnel,
Yep.
who's included in
There's not who is what, it's all the expenses.
Okay.
Personnel is all our employee costs.
Personnel is people, and non-personal is the church, the building,
Okay.
supplies, things like that.
Bills, utilities.
Yep, yep,
Okay, gotcha.
yep. It's stuff that doesn't breathe.
Yeah.
Best way to look at that. Now, if the church starts to breathe, well, I think that'd be pretty awesome. School, yeah, school personnel expenses for the year, that's $220. Per month is $71,021. And then non-personal expenses is $16,894. That's $232.
I have a question.
Go for it.
So, not to put a divider between the church and the school, but when I think of non-personal expenses, I'm thinking of like heat and electricity kind of thing, but obviously both use it, so how do we determine where the budget that goes?
So Kathy has, she has separated it out, that there is a certain amount is allocated towards the school and a certain amount is allocated towards the church, correct?
Certain amount to the chapters.
Right, correct.
Okay.
So, and that is actually something we need to know for when if we become enrolled in school choice, because we need to show that this certain amount goes towards the school.
I see. Got it. Thank you.
Is it separate metered? So like if you have a utility company that comes in and says, okay, the church is, I mean, instead of.
Unfortunately, we kind
so it's more usage.
Yes.
So when we have people in the property, yeah. All right, and then the school non-personal, 16,894, that's 232, sorry, I already said that. So our total is 2,004 from July 1st to December was $115,027 per month in expenses.
Question,
Go for it.
to understand the numbers better,
Yep,
in the expenses, we do not have that payroll expenses that I asked about earlier. So I'm curious if that is something that, again, I don't know what that is, so I'm trying to understand.
And it's the FICA and the other half of FICA.
Is that something you pay on a regular basis,
Yes.
or is it yearly?
No, that is per payday.
So we really should have some type of a line item
It's in
here.
a month's payroll on the church side. I don't have that allocated out because it's a little bit more difficult to do that.
Okay. I'm just, when comparing budget to the actual numbers, it's a little more confusing because,
It's, if you, the way QuickBooks work, you can close out boxes. So instead of having 35 different options, it all becomes one, the personnel. So then all of the personnel, so benefits, payroll, taxes, all are in one.
so whatever we paid has been distributed into the two.
It has not been
School.
distributed into the school, no. That'll be
It's not
something,
in these numbers?
it's in the church,
Just,
just the church.
okay.
And as soon as we go to school choice, that'll be something the auditors will help with, they'll make
right.
journal entries, swap entries.
But it is already accounted?
Yes, it is,
Okay.
yeah.
So again, our total, 115,027, so that was actual. So that's about $4,000 above what was budgeted out for the year. And again, this is 5 months, okay? We know at the beginning of the year, our school, usually we get a bunch of money at the beginning, trickles in throughout the rest of the year. Childcare is usually pretty stable, correct? I mean, you have a pretty, you don't have an up and down swing very much?
Summer's probably more.
Okay, okay. So, the reason I didn't split those two out, the school and the church, is the main reason is because we are one entity. All right? And if we lose sight of that, then I think we start taking a trip down a path that none of us want to go down. I'm going to be honest. I like the school here. I want the school here.
That's an excellent point, because what happens is then internally, fingers get pointed. It's either the child care center, or the school, or the congregation that,
Yep.
what I'm saying.
Yep.
And that's kind of the vernacular, or the nomenclature, that it's been not, historically even,
Right.
so.
And we are one entity, so that's why I didn't split those things out. I mean, it'd be very easy to split them out, but why? Why? So, now, I will turn your attention to the next page here, this one. So this was, Joe, I actually borrowed this from an email from last year. So you will see the previous year, 2024, 2025, what was budgeted, what was actual, and then our proposed budget. And you will see the proposed budget matches the numbers that we have on number 1. There is a last piece, and that actually, you guys can take a look at. So this was on the 2024, 2025, where it says actual. This summary is the actual, the end. This is when Kathy sent out the year end. Now I have that. This is what it looks like. That's why I didn't give it to you guys. Okay? Now, I will say, I used AI to do a summary to look at the highlights of this. Now, I also want to point out that you will see that the numbers are slightly off from what is actual, but that is because when this came out, remember, we had our voters meeting in May. Okay? This is end of June. So that's a whole month, month and a half that was not in this chart. Okay? What I want to draw your attention to is at the bottom. Surplus or deficit. So we are budgeted in 2024, 2025 with a deficit of $84,000. Okay? Our actual deficit was $64,417, so about $20,000 less. And, which is obviously not good, but it's better than where it was. When you look at our actual numbers, the total income and the total expenses, they're $7 off. And the reason for that is this: money was withdrawn from endowments to cover those expenses, okay? Those endowments are currently, they were gifted to the congregation for operational expenses, okay? That being said, we have endowments to cover operational expenses right now. But how long, we don't know. Okay?
One thing I want to acknowledge too, it's pretty crazy, because I feel like sometimes childcare, I hate to say this, but I feel like sometimes people will forget about it, and that's not fair. And you look at the income from childcare, and then you look at the school income.
Yep.
That's island.
Yeah.
Right? So we really need to find a way to support all three, church, school, childcare, in a way that, when you look at the numbers,
Yeah.
that speaks. And I did not know about the church and the school until I went and sent my kids to childcare. That was how I was introduced to the church and the school. And I did a little digging. I know those of you who don't know this, there are only 10 children that go to the school that are from Immanuel. The rest of them are from all different denominations
Or non-churched.
or non-church. That's huge. And to me, that's also a group of people. Because there are people that are sending their children to the school that go to Big Fellowship, Cornerstone, Latter-day Saints, all these churches. So just keep that in the back of your mind. There are only 10 children that are actual Lutherans that go there. And the rest of the children, that means that they see value in the school, and they choose to send them here versus maybe a different school or public school. So that's a whole nother topic we can talk about on another day, where I like my husband to be here too, because we have some ideas of that. But just keep that in the back of your mind. That's huge. There's 104 students in the school, and only 10 of them belong.
10%.
So that is a whole nother avenue, opportunity that we are not taking
Minnesota, and that church was set up as a church plant. Michigan, okay. That church was set up as a church plant specifically to plant a church, but also to support that church. They have a daycare. The daycare supports that church and allows them to do outreach, you know, because of the children coming, and then also for them to reach out. They have $1 million budget, and this was like 10 years ago.
So I'm saying we have an opportunity.
10 years ago, and, but that's the purpose for they work together. And so you can't, it's like the church, the school, the daycare. We got our own little trinity here, and there's not one more important than the other.
Right.
And we need to keep that in mind, so we don't get the, well, I'm doing more, or, you know.
That's not
Okay, I'm done.
No, that's okay.
We
Yeah.
want us to be united.
Right.
And this is a good opportunity, looking at these numbers. I mean, as a business sense, I got my business hat on. That's what I see when I see these numbers.
My only thing about the child care center, is that we seem to always have like a waiting list, or if it's not a waiting list, it's wait a few days and you probably will have one. And when it comes to our child care staffing as well as our square footage, I don't know how we can actually add more to maybe grow it, without adding on to the building. So, I think that we are almost at maximum efficiency unless we were to up the prices.
It depends on the year, like this year, we're a lower number than we have.
Okay.
Then the year before that, we were full and had a list, so it's really.
It just kind of depends.
Yeah.
Would you, can I ask you a question? So when it fluctuates, because you've been here a long time, can you find a pattern or a correlation? Would you say that if we were better at marketing, that could solve that? If you had more room, if you had a bigger budget, like I know staff was an issue because, you know, everyone's struggling to find staff. Is there anything that we can do to support you more? Because I think the numbers are proving that, think about it, when you send your child to childcare, and if we connect the childcare with the school a bit better, to the point where those parents want to send their kids to kindergarten here, right? I mean, it's a gateway, if you look at it that way. So, I think we need to get creative on how do we check or connect the childcare with the school, because that right there, if we were a little bit better at marketing and promoting and creating a budget for marketing, I'm shocked we don't have one. That one,
Can I,
I'm appalled by that.
with all respect, these are all good ideas. I don't know if I'm the only one feeling like, are we getting beyond your presentation?
No, this is the discussion I wanted.
Okay, because, well, I had a question about your presentation here,
Okay,
and I was kind of
waiting.
getting lost.
All right.
Which doesn't take a lot.
So we're gonna,
But,
but go ahead, Pastor.
Jim, I think you were having us compare, can you see what I'm holding up here? This page
Yep.
that has, with this other, the page that follows it, the summarizing document.
Yes.
So, what I guess my question is, in looking at the summarizes document, for key highlights, and that's for 2024 to 2025, right, July?
Yep.
So, there we have it broken down between childcare, church income, and school income.
Right.
So, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around then, looking at what was budgeted for that same period. So, which categories then, on that previous sheet, how do they segue? And do you follow what I'm saying? Because we have different titles,
Yeah.
we have different categories.
So
I'm trying to, I'm not real clear, I guess.
that would be where we go into this guy.
Oh, okay.
So when it's the school and childcare in that Where is it at?
And let me say, for me, I try to think like the person in the pew, and it's so helpful just to get big picture.
Yeah.
Just the there are so many details, and some are really, really good at it, like I married a detailed wife, it drives me crazy, because I'm a big picture guy.
Yep.
She's a detail guy, we need both.
We do need both, but I think,
So my pleas are on behalf of the big picture people, including with the finances.
no. So when you look at this one, your, let's see here, the big picture one. Oh, let's see here. And again, the actual is going to be skewed off a little bit because this is the final, and, oh. So your question was, how does it break down? Well,
Well, hey, if this is something that would be better to do.
it would be better to do if
do
I,
it out of this forum.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with that. Perfectly fine.
It may not hurt to send everybody here a full budget.
oh, I will. I just, for time purposes, I didn't want to go, because this gets, I think the Board of Administration can attest that this gets pretty tedious and almost overwhelming at times for just us. And, I think Kathy does a good job of sorting it out.
Actually, now that I look at this further, I think it isn't that difficult without having. So, but thank you.
No. But, so yes, Rich?
Well, I was listening to Erin very hard, and she brought up a point. Some years ago, when I first was here in the early 80s, actually, because I was on that board, we had a board of advertising. I forgot what you actually called it. Exactly, that. We had Bob Foltz on it and several others. I believe on his wiki also we had, and it made a difference. Even in our smaller budget, we didn't have tuition in our school. We had higher enrollment, all that good stuff. All kinds of athletics. We had volleyball and all that. Then, as I'm listening, Pastor Chris brought up in one of our board meetings for the Board of Elders, a grant writer. Could we have a grant writer? Could we recruit one?
So, we're getting ahead of, I've got some information to share with you guys too about that. So let's go through what our current plans are right now. So we have school choice. A congregation back in May had,
Can I wait for Corey to walk in the door and then ask her a question?
yeah,
Corey? Corey, we need you. Corey?
Corey, we need you.
There you go. Now you can
You walked out just as this conversation was going on. At one point in the past couple of years, we had a marketing committee, and you had kind of headed that up, or thought were on it.
I can tell you a little bit about that.
Do we still have that?
No, so it was me, my husband Chris, he was the one that helped with the brochure that was initially created. Brian, Deanna Willman, who's not here anymore. It was a small group of people. We didn't have much of a budget,
Right.
but we came up with a brochure. My year, then they decided not to print the brochure because we didn't have the funds. It was pretty disheartening, to be honest. But then later, they recently printed it because there must have been allocated funds that went
board vet?
Yep, him and Chris came together along with a few of us. That was also the same year that we decided to get some data. And so when it came to, the school carnival, we suggested, let's get some clickers and see how many people are coming in the doors, because there's data that we know is successful, we know it does well, but we have no numbers. I mean, that doesn't surprise me when you say it's just the last 2 years you guys decided to start doing this. I'm happy to hear it's being done now, but, at the end of the day, like this data that we can collect, and that's why I think even someday goal, if we have a part-time marketing person on staff, that would be the person you would allocate to get that kind of information. And it would benefit the school, the church, and the child care. I cannot think of one business that's like, yeah, I wish we didn't have a marketing person. You know what I mean? Like, so I do, it's an investment, of course. However, you get your money back, especially if that, let's say billboard like we did years ago, if it can bring in more students, childcare, that pays for itself. So it's all about investment and putting your business hat on in a way, because at the end of the day, we are running a business too, you know?
Just a different type of
But yes,
business.
there was an effort for a while to have a marketing committee, but because we got staff that is pulling all these other different directions, that's why I will always be vocal that it needs to be a specific individual, like that is their job. It shouldn't be Jill's responsibility, it shouldn't be Kathy's responsibility. It should be an individual where that is their job. They have boots on the ground, they're going to Mackey events, they're going to, we're part of Main Street, we're part of a Mackey member. Those are benefits we're not tapping into. That person would go to business after 5, meet and greet, shake people's hands and say, oh, did you hear that we have a church and a school and a child care? You didn't know that, here's our card. We need someone on the ground, in my opinion, and I think it would help with a lot of things that we're talking about today.
Oh, I would agree, and that's bottom part of our agenda. We'll get there.
And I'm sorry, I'm very
No.
passionate.
It's okay. I appreciate.
I apologize, I love the school, I love the church, I love the child care. My family has benefited from it like many of yours. That's where you feel this energy for me, and I apologize too much.
Don't apologize. So school choice, back in May, our congregation voted to enroll. We are currently in the process of our application being put in, which is due the 12th, 10th, thank you. And that is, well, Jill, would you be able to give us a quick update on school choice?
So over break, Heidi and I worked on the first part of the training. We'll have the second part coming out in March. I sent out a fast direct, had sent out a fast direct quite a while ago to all the families, especially the ones that already get help from the TADS program. And then I had asked parents to respond to me by January 2nd if they plan to apply. I heard a response from 17 families, of which 9 students plan to apply. There are a few others, Heidi and I this week are going to go through who qualifies for free and reduced lunch, and then we'll probably physically talk to them to see if they plan to apply. The window for applying will be sometime in February. We don't have the date yet.
Right.
That'll be the first.
And we can set that date, correct?
Yes, we can pick the months, which we have done.
Right.
And, yeah, then once the application window opens up, then we'll start taking those. We're just starting with our school families this first 2 years, and probably going to limit it to 10 to 15 students. I don't think we'll open up more than that for the first year at least.
If you have 17 that qualify,
17 didn't qualify. I just sent out a fast direct to all the families and said, who you plan on? Okay, yeah.
oh, I misunderstood. I thought you said that 17 would have possibly qualified, so I just,
There are 16 students that now take part in the TAS program, but several of them responded to me and said they would not qualify
Yeah.
I figured you'd done it already,
So the intent and purpose of school choice is, this is not a moneymaker for us. Okay, it's not going to reverse our fortunes, it's not going to make us a multi-million-dollar congregation. But what it is it's an opportunity for us. We have 17 students, you said? 16 students right now that are free or reduced, that the congregation is currently helping pay for them, okay? That is money that we do not typically see, and there are times that at the end of the year, their tuition is still out there, right? So this is an opportunity for us to not have to ask for our congregation to, I don't want to say subsidize, because that's not what I want to say, but subsidize those students, all right? I know there are some costs associated with it, but we have found that some of those costs are not as astronomical as what we first once thought. We will get an audit we will audit the school first, which is about 20,000 if I remember right, somewhere around there, 15, 20. But then our plan is we will actually do a full audit of the school, childcare, and the church. We do not need the full audit for school choice. We just need the audit of our school. Okay? We have a gentleman, Brian, from Manawa, correct? They are our sister congregation, and we have the opportunity to work with them for the next 2 years. Okay? We do not have to reinvent the wheel, which is good, because this can be very time-consuming. I do know that there is a group. Jill is the school administrator. Heidi is going to kind of be coordinator. Kim and I have said that we would also be delegates. So whatever needs to, and I guess at some point we'll probably need to sit down and talk. And then Jill and Kathy will be working together working on budget and stuff like that. And that will also be it'll be beneficial when we get the auditors in here, because they will also help with our kind of general understanding of that. We have not had an audit here in this school, church, child care center since I've been here. I've been here for 10 years.
I don't know that there's been one since I've been.
Yeah. So, data flow. So what data flow was doing was what Kathy does right now. The bookkeeping, that's all they were doing. I don't think they ever audited any of our books.
Not a true audit.
No, not a true audit. Yeah, it was more of you guys are doing okay, keep going. So that was one of the reasons that we brought all of our books back into the building.
There was a time, maybe this was when it first came, when there was a committee of 3 people that were members of the congregation that would review the business manager's books. That's what I recall.
Yeah. So we have not had a formal audit, which needs to be done. Okay? All right. Thank you, Joe. And I did include, and I apologize, it's behind the transfer the blessing stuff. It's our timeline, kind of goes over everything. Transfer the blessing, what that is it's an opportunity for us to reach out to our congregants. Yes, sir.
Can I say something more about the school choice program? I talked to my brother, who's a member at Peace of Antico, which is a church very much like ours, an old church. They have a school, they have daycare. They were not making it financially. They had to lay off teachers, and they were doing dumb tubes. They wanted to do school choice, and now their enrollment is up to 200 they've got enough money to pave the parking lot. So I think we could be more optimistic about what the potential is of school choice.
There is potential.
The thought process, in my opinion, is that we're not a money maker, we're not trying to use it as our money tree. This is to sustain, and in my opinion, my main push for the school choice was for our staff. I think our teachers need to be paid what they deserve, whether they want it or not. I know there's some gracious teachers that are like, I'm happy with my wages, but just like children, sometimes they have to do things that are best for them, and they deserve it. So we may not be having a big influx of money that we see, but I'm sure that our teachers that deserve it will see it in their pocketbooks, which I think is really important, as well as paving the parking lot.
And
I think one of the feedbacks I've heard from parents too is they want to see our classes remain smaller. And so we don't want to take in, 20 kids per class. I don't think that's our plan.
And so school choice can be tailored to how this school wants to do it. It's not, we're not directed by any entity to, you have to have 50 school vouchers per school. That is not the intent. The intent was to offer an opportunity to people who may otherwise not enroll in our school to be able to be enrolled in our school and get it paid for. And so it will help offset some of the costs, that is for sure. But the other part is we need to make sure that we keep that in mind, that it is for students, it is for the school, it is for an opportunity to give these people that opportunity to be in.
My understanding, and I wasn't around when the school was started, but the schools at that time were started as kind of a mission field, and in fact, sometimes they were started before the church, I believe.
Yes.
This one was.
And I think, we need to keep in mind that from a church standpoint, the school is our mission field. What Aaron says about 10 of our members being enrolled and 90% are not, that is a huge mission field. And so, as a church, we do need to support that as a mission. And so, it'll never be a moneymaker for us, I don't think. I mean, will it help, obviously do some things? Great. But, we have to keep thinking about it as a mission rather than a business.
I love that you said that, because I 100% agree with that.
And we were just whispering here, Corey and I. Oh, now we won't. Ken, I don't know the answer obviously in the future, but can you still stay small and grow?
Yes.
Can you still stay small and grow? Just leave it at that.
I guess what's the definition of growing?
Having small classes, but
Many classes.
many classes.
I was looking at like, kind of facilities, too, that must be like.
Well, that's another, you cross that bridge when you get there. But, those of us who have been a part of this from the beginning, in interviewing and listening to our district schools, which now there's only one, unless we get turned off, turned away. Only one that is not Missouri City School Choice in North Wisconsin District. They're saying that in Immanuel, they added a DCE. Now, I'm just throwing that out, I'm not saying that that's on the agenda. But that they found win-wins throughout, is what their stories
Right.
have been.
Right.
So, and I know the challenge there is to look beyond right here,
Right.
and we are unique, but, there's credence to the experiences they're having, and in our district with it, so I'll just.
No, again, it's an opportunity, and it's an opportunity to make things better, okay?
Can I say one more thing?
Yep.
I feel like it relates to what we're talking about. If my husband were here, because they couldn't make it. And so I know our fears, we don't want to be so big, but we all know too that church attendance is down everywhere, which also means that attendance and enrollment for small Christian schools are also not as high. So we have to keep in mind too, I had a daughter that, Elena, she was in a class of all boys, no girls, until she had to end up going to Columbus because, and it broke her heart, but she's at that age where she was with other girls. So my fear is if everyone wants to just make sure it's so small, you gotta find a win-win, like Pastor said. You gotta, what is that sweet spot where we have a good size class, but it's not so small where it discourages people. And I can tell you, as a parent, it is a deciding factor if you want to send your kid to a really small private school. If they don't have a lot of peers in their class, I'm not going to send my kid there. And at the end of the day, that's the decision that my husband and I had to make, and it was heartbreaking. So just keep that in mind too. There has to be a good win-win balance. I'm not suggesting 30 students in a class, but maybe 15 isn't a bad number.
The vicarage congregation I serve is closed, and last month the church that I went to was confirmed in Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis, closed its doors. It was a church, when I was a kid, much, much larger than this church.
Yeah.
It's no more. And it's no more because the focus, the mission became internal, if you will, or just, this.
Yeah.
And even though the population grew around this church I grew up in. No more Lutheran Church of the Triune God.
Nope.
And, there's more to that story too, but still, it's happening, and why is it happening? We have to be able to look at, we are a Great Commission, church, and we want to take care of our own, absolutely.
Right.
But if we draw a line there and say it's just about our own, well, my goodness, and I got to go back and reread the scriptures and throw out a whole bunch of sermons and Bible studies and stuff. So.
It's amazing as we go into this, we're thinking about what may or may not happen, whatever, but once we jump into this, let's just let God do the work, because you know what? If we grow and we need to, He'll take care of it. Along the way, He just prepares the way. We have no idea sitting here in January 2026, we have no idea the plans He has for us. It can be great, it can be grand, it can be very small, but He's going to take us along the way.
He is.
And, and He will.
And it can be a high anxiety experience.
Oh, yeah.
It can be a high anxiety experience. Again, we got examples of the scripture.
Just to be sure you guys be on that. But on her note, we had a board of elders meeting some time ago, and the idea of, and this may be off the wall, and I don't know if anyone else heard it, but I've hung on to this idea. It's not my idea, by the way. But I've hung on to it. Or for as much money as we're trying to catch up, and the cost of all the repairs we have here and all that, are we driving away people because we don't have the technology and the upgrades and all this? Why not just build a whole new school on these buildings?
I believe that conversation has come in passing at times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
And I don't think it's that far-fetched.
it isn't. But that's for a different topic.
Well,
Different day.
Different day. But,
no, this may help us with the budget.
right. Transfer the blessing, that's the other thing. You guys all said it was okay. Pastor and I and Corey all talked. So what this is, it's an opportunity, it's not an opportunity that we're going to see now. okay? I'm going to be honest with you. We may see it in 15 years, we may see it in 20 years, but it's still an opportunity for us to invest in the school, childcare, and church when some of us may not be here anymore, okay? There's a committee that I'm working on getting together right now. What happens is this gentleman, Gary Vout, thank you, will actually come to our congregation and give a presentation about this to our congregation. We're looking at the end of April for when this will come about. What is an opportunity for Gary to sit down with people, go over how they do estate planning, et cetera, and they will and go step by step, but with the intent and purpose that part of people's inheritance or whatever will go towards the church. Kathy was telling us we had how many members pass last year? 14 or 15, and we did not receive any significant memorials from that. Now, that's not to say we sit around and wait for, I'm gonna be crass here, wait for people to die. No, that's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is watch out for our church. It gives us an opportunity. So, if anyone's interested, we've got a couple of names. If anyone's interested in accompanying me on this journey, I will sure take it.
It's also a benefit for the people,
It is.
you know, to help them to write their estates in a more stewardship way.
Yep.
Heidi and I are, we're planning to sign up with Gary to help us do that.
And the nice thing with it is the synod is actually footing 70% of the bill. So we only have to come up with 30%, which I think ends up being around $1,500 to $2,000. I think it's a pretty good investment.
To bring him in?
To bring them in, and to actually help set up these plans. Now, it's not, I mean, it's people, people select it, okay? So,
He does the legwork, he goes into the homes, he doesn't come in to train anybody here.
no.
To do that work that he's been trained to do.
Which is good, because again, I'm not a financial guru. Just ask my wife. All right, next, where do we go from here? Oh,
So you're saying he meets,
He meets in the home.
individually with people that are interested?
Yes.
mhm.
Okay.
He'll have the congregational meet and greet, informational meeting. There will be information that'll be made available. We'll actually make we'll have someone will be sitting at the table, so it won't be just a boom. But we will start rolling out some of that in the near future.
And just so everybody's understanding right, people will have to pay something that do this.
They will have to pay the lawyer stuff.
Yes.
But
there
they
are
will not-
costs.
yeah.
It's not to Gary, it's not to the church or anything.
Right.
It's part of the legality.
That's what they pay anyways.
But there are some expenses that people would have to incur.
Typically, when you do an estate planning, you're going to a financial advisor and they're sitting there and they're going to go through everything, but they're going to also say, and this will cost you this, this, and this. That cost is moved out of the way. All you have to do is pay for the legal fees. And then I think how things are invested and stuff, I think is how part of his income along with our fee. It's a 1-year commitment, but we can always ask for him to come back too. All right, so where do we go from here? Well, in your next part, there is this thing, tuition gap initiative. So this was brought forward by a member of the Board of Admin, Kurt Hollitz. And so what it is it's basically opening people's eyes to what the actual cost is to send their children here and what we charge. Okay? As you can see, there's a typical deficit of $5,100 per student that is incurred upon the school. So there is a little sheet that he set for, and basically, this is not the tuition forgiveness. Let me just stipulate that. That's a whole different conversation than is the other slash of this part. This would be actually sending these out to congregants, school families, saying, hey, this is what the actual cost is to pay for your child to be enrolled here. Will you be interested in helping? What does this money go towards? The teachers, the school, the supplies. This goes towards the school. This is not a moneymaker. This is not, again, an attempt to get pastor in a brand new car or anything like that. This is an opportunity for us to try to bridge that gap and bridge the deficit that we currently have in our current finances. Wanted to bring this up. What are thoughts on this?
Jacob,
Yes, ma'am.
so I acknowledge that 90% of the students that go here do not go to Immanuel. I did have a conversation with a parent that has a child that goes here, and they go to a different church. And I entertained the idea to them, how would it be if we went to different churches where those students go to, and they loved the idea? Because if we could show that this is for the school and the childcare, you're not paying for the church, even though yes, we're united, if this is a separate thing.
It goes to the mission.
It goes to the mission, but it also helps fund the teachers so they can continue to teach. It goes to the school, so we can continue to have a school where your students, the 90% of students that you're sending their children to, they can continue to go there. I think that if my husband has an idea too, I thought about asking if he could come today.
I'd have been fine with that.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's,
Open to it. My husband and I have an idea on how to help with this idea, but I would like him to talk about it if you guys are open to having him talk about it.
and I know that there's been discussion in the past of going to different congregations, and our understanding is that some of the congregations are opposed to financing
This idea would be for the school.
for the school.
Childcare specifically.
So maybe it,
Those parents who are sending their children to the school, if they understood what a dire situation, that there's a chance that they may not be able to send their kids to the school, you betcha will help,
yeah,
right?
right.
And at the end of the day, if you were one of those parents that are under the impression that where you're choosing to send your kids to school, they're financially hurting, why wouldn't they help? Especially if
And
That's why if you're open to this idea, and I know I'm throwing a lot here, if you guys are open to having my husband, he has a very good idea too on how to make that happen.
and I,
To approach it in a gentle way. You gotta be gentle about it. Make a win-win. And it's like what you were saying earlier. It's a mission. At the end of the day, our ultimate goal should be to spread the news about God and Jesus. And if we can reach children that are not going to the church, or maybe they're going to no church, but those kids are coming here, they don't know about Jesus just yet, or they're considering it. What a great opportunity for this church, this childcare, and this school. What a mission we could have, and that makes it bigger than who we are. And that's why I'm excited about this as an opportunity.
and I think in the past that there's been discussion that we've approached churches, but it may have been wording or the understanding of what we were asking for. I don't know.
So
Dan.
I'm all for sending this out, but my only thing I would change about it is, similar to when we do fundraising, we know that, Race for Education goes for, technology and such, right? Or the Pancake goes towards, tuition assistance. If we're gonna be asking these families for this money, I would also allocate, like, hey, this is exactly where it's gonna be going, whether it's heating, whether it's gonna be paying teachers, whatever it's gonna be, so then they know it's not gonna be going towards the school, to kind of build off of what Aaron was saying. And I would also send, like, almost, like, one nice thing about Fast Direct, or like an email like that, you can have an attachment, and this could be the attachment, but on top of that, you're just gonna send an attachment, right? So you could have, an email, like a paragraph written out, explaining that in a different way. Same information in a paragraph form than like this is nice, it really, really is, I like it, but again, some people's brains work different than others. So having the same information, and if, I don't wanna give Jill a task, but if she were to do this, knowing that it's gonna be going towards the school, not the church, coming from the administrator would hit people differently than hitting from a pastor.
JJ, I just asked my husband to come to the meeting.
Okay.
You asked for comments about this, yeah. Well, I'm gonna use an example that I lived when I was with the youth group. And I get kind of emotional about it because the guys in the profession, as of right now, we were going to a youth rally in Chicago, and one of the boys that wanted to go could not go because he couldn't afford it. I had an ice cream pail here in the church, asking people to pay drop in cash and help us go. I don't know who the person is, but they paid the way for this one boy. He came home, and here's where I get emotional. He walked in his house, dropped his bag, and he told his mother, now he's in 9th grade by the way, told his mother, I'm gonna be a pastor, and he is. And if we didn't have that help from whoever the member is, and I want him to go, I have no idea where that money came from. We have to also advertise, we have this going on, let's make this happen. We got people in here when we had to have the new units on the roof. Slap the money down when we needed the new organ. Had the money in only a day, maybe a week, but I believe it was a day. It's here,
It is here.
but we've got to get communication out. Very important.
Quick question. At one point in time, there was a different tuition based off of membership with Immanuel
No.
So it's just one price?
There's a discount though.
There is a discount for Immanuel members, that's it.
There is still that?
Yes, it's just one discount of $1,000 a family, doesn't matter how many children you have, it's $1,000 a family. And I believe the other discount is, the third one is free, is that correct? So if you have 3 children or 4, the other, after 2, they're free.
Okay. How is that calculated into this?
What do you mean?
The tuition gap amount.
Yeah,
So I think when they did this, they looked at how much we were getting from tuition and just in general, and then I think divided it out into the number of students we had. That cost,
is the 2,300 per student what we are charging for tuition?
no, it is,
That's the average, though, I think is what you're.
right, what's the,
So 38, Kathy, 38 for the first, 24 for the second, and then third number.
is free. You're thinking,
Well, I just, it's a little misleading then, because it's technically not, you know, if we were to give this to other churches, and they say, well, but you said it's $2,300 per student, but you're gonna charge me 38 for my kid, well, that's misleading. How can you do that? You know, I'm not sure that this is truly, and even giving it to our members, is truly telling the story of what's going on.
I think it depends, I mean, it says most families pay $2,300 on after tuition discount, so I think it does depend on how you put the message.
But if you put 2,300 in bigger letters, and my family's paying 3,000 a student, I mean, you know, I think to Glenn's point, if we're gonna put this out, we maybe wanna, maybe remove some of how much others are average paying, and focus instead on, here's what a year of school here costs. So you know what you're paying, and it's nowhere near this. So realize that the church is, you know, I mean, frame it maybe less bluntly, but take out some of the numbers so that the focus is instead on what the gap is, instead of, you know, the Glenn's point. If somebody sees it and says, geez, I'm paying, you know. I like the idea almost like a worst case scenario, and then if they do qualify for a discount, they're like, hey, I'm winning, you know, well, I don't.
Yeah, you can even put in there, our starting tuition is 3,800 or whatever it is, and you don't have to put all the other factors in, just say, just make it a generic. A family with 1 student here, tuition is going to be this much.
Does this also cover the Adopt a Child program or whatever?
so that's the next thing I was actually gonna touch on.
You know, as a church, if we're covering the gap, which is basically what we're doing as a mission, but we're also covering and I'm saying we, but somebody is covering this Adopt a Child, how does that translate into this as well? Because it's still actually probably more is what we're covering.
When I know that some of the families that go to the Adopt a Family, with the TADS program, what that does is it shows how much they should be able to pay towards their tuition every year, correct? And then Kathy talks to them and says, this is how much you are expected to pay. Some of them actually pay more. And most of them are, and because I think they're just happy that, one, their child is able to be educated in a Christian environment, but two, they know that there is support for their for their child to be here. So I like the idea of taking the average, the 2,300, and putting tuitions 3,800, something like that. how, I guess, and maybe this would, well, how would we go about distributing this? And who is interested in going through with this process?
I think if the goal is to start engaging the other churches, we need to start by sharing with them what we're doing and showing them the mission we're on and the success we're having before we show up hat in hand asking for more money or any money. You know,
To other-
I remember way back in the day, Pastor Chris, he kind of went on like a circuit tour, you know, preaching at the different, I mean, but, and I'm not saying that's enough, but like, we need some sort of organized plan, at least with the handful of LCMS churches in the area, Christ, Immanuel, Hewitt, Zion, Christ, and Grant, I mean.
Now,
whether or not
do-
we have students here.
I was going to say, do we have any students from those congregations here?
Yes.
We do.
Not Zion, but Hewitt and Immanuel, or Hewitt and
Christ.
Christ.
So I guess that is, so do we hold off on sending this out to families and congregants until we have that discussion with churches?
So JJ, I'm hoping my husband's coming, he's in the middle of making lasagna.
Tell them we'll be over.
We'll be on it all.
But like I said, Chris and I have been thinking about this ever since I got on the board of education. So longer than we've been talking about it as a group here. We have what we think is a pretty decent plan.
Okay.
And I'm hoping if you can't make it today, if, and I know this is a big ask, but if we could, if you can't make it, if you could hear our proposal and our idea.
Yeah.
Because I do think that we have to do it in a very gentle way, with a very clear message, and know our audience. Internally and externally. And, we're trying to solve many different things here. And I think it has to be done in a very particular way. You know, based on the information I gave you guys, 10 students, you know, those students, coaches, they have to understand how it benefits them and their child. And I think that type of message has to be, I don't know.
Yep. No,
That sounds like another whole separate, because we can get into, it sounds like we can get into a lot of discussion stuff. Yeah, that sounds like a good.
And part of it, why I'm thinking of that is because those parents that we would go to today to talk about, hey, let's talk about situation, and yet those parents go to a different church. If we're gonna have another message eventually with some of those church members that are at a different church, we have to remember what goes first. Do you have that conversation with that parent that sends a kid here first? Or do you have it at the same time? Do you get what I'm saying? I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves when we talk to those parents that send their children here, that go to a different church. And then a month later, somehow we also talk to maybe that pastor at that other church. We have to have a clear message.
right.
Especially how some of the parents that send their kids here are pastors themselves,
Right.
right?
So
we-
that-
Or they're involved in their church in a very heavy way.
Yep.
So I just think that, I know I'm throwing a lot here.
No, that makes sense, and to try to, so right now, we'll put that under wraps with the intent of listening and hearing.
If Chris walks in, if you're okay, maybe he can tell you his idea.
Yep.
I apologize,
It's okay.
you guys are never gonna have
No.
this meeting ever again.
But if he doesn't make it, anyone that would be interested, we'll get something scheduled, okay?
You know, you asked who would want to get involved with this program. Just an idea here, but I'm wondering if you asked some of the parents of these 90% of the kids
Right.
I have nobody going.
So I'm a lowest level person, and then build up, right? All right, so the lowest level is the families that come here, so I agree. And then kind of get some feelers out, wait a few months, see what happens, if we get any takers. If we do, awesome. Then if we don't, then maybe we can step up a little higher, possibly, but.
However, by doing this, is this a congregational decision?
That,
And if they're not members, I'm just throwing this out there.
Right.
If they're not members of the church, they can be as interested and helpful as they are. But if they're not able to make a decision on that, I would feel kind of miffed that I put in all this work and I can't even have a vote on what we do.
So what you're
you
saying
gotta
is
think
you want
about
the
that.
congregation to vote to see if we want to ask the parents to pay more money?
No, not at all.
Well, if the school is, I mean, the school and the church, yes, we're united, but they're separate.
Exactly.
90% of the students that go to the school are not members of Immanuel.
Right.
So I know, I would feel uncomfortable if it was the congregation making a vote like that. I think a lot of 90% of those parents would be happy about that either.
Exactly.
Right.
well, now, PTL, how many are members of how many people in PTL are members of Immanuel?
Me,
Yeah,
Sam,
that's about it.
teacher,
But and then we have, the rest are parents from, if they show, right?
So, all I'm gonna say is they have an opportunity, non-member parents have an opportunity to participate in PTL, and they don't.
I know that I have been told by a parent, I'm not gonna say who, they go to a different church and their kids go here. They do feel like there's a disconnect sometimes. They do feel like when they send their kids to the school, they love the teachers, they love the classrooms, but because they're not a member, they don't feel like they're part of the family. So we need to keep that in mind, that we are, the 90% of the parents that are sending their kids to the school are supporting the school, not, in a way. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I don't think we should be so wrapped up on if someone's a member or not.
Yes, yes.
No, all I'm
Because that,
saying is
you
the
know-
bottom line, and I'm not into the whole member, all that stuff, but if they're doing all this, and they come up with an idea that would change what we're doing.
Then it would have to go to the Board
it
of
would have to-
Ed,
it would have to
and then,
go to the
and
Board of
if,
Ed,
yeah,
And then it would have to go to the congregation.
if it was something that was significant, that changes our bylaws.
Yeah, then it would have to go to the congregation, and the congregation.
But I think
would be-
if we were getting input and some, because PTL is a formal group, correct?
sure.
Formal in the sense that it is a recognized group of our church, and we do have members and non-members of that group in there. So it would, if there's nothing,
Under the Board of Ed.
it is under the Board of Ed. So again, this would be a group that would be under the Board of Ed. So,
So it has a direction.
it has a direction.
And then, see, I'm listening hard again, and I keep hearing us, and yet 90% of the problem, I won't say it's not us, but 90% of the problem can be helped out. Why not us members? I mean, we've got all that help potentially out there, and here we sit.
Yeah. It's trying to get those, because I know Kim has done a pretty hard job of trying to get people in the school to invest in the PTL, and it's,
But if you've got a project, then you may go PTL too, which is always a possibility. I remember the years we had half the gym was PTL members. Awesome. Only everyone was involved. We had a lot of projects going. What do they have going?
And
right, the other question, the other one that came up was the tuition or the adopt a family that we've done in the past. That is something that, could we do that? Could we get that started again? Is that a possibility? What adopt a family is basically those students who are now, free or reduced tuition. It gives the congregation an opportunity to adopt. A congregation, or I guess school families, if they come in and pick their kids up. But it's that where they've had, is it envelopes, or how have we done that in the past?
We've done the envelopes, they pick an envelope with a money amount on it, put that in, we've done that.
Okay,
Or we've done like the adopt a family where Kathy would have how much, like one student, how much they owe, and then that person could adopt that whole family's amount.
could we start that process now? Within the next couple of weeks? The only reason,
Advertised in those churches.
Can
That be advertised in those churches?
why not?
That seems simpler than this.
It's a start.
It seems to me when we have a visual, like whoever the idea was to put on that,
Like a thermometer,
it worked fantastic.
okay?
And then you can monitor they come in, week by week and watch it.
It's like what Rich said too earlier, that when people needed, church needed an organ, people came through. When you guys needed, was it HVAC system? Or what was
Yep.
it? You know, the lighting.
The lighting, yeah.
I like the idea of the envelopes as well. I mean, even I'd take a $5 one, and my kids would each grab one or something, So then it's small enough for everybody, but big enough for everybody.
It's just educating people. So I don't know if you said it earlier, but communicating what we need.
Yeah.
I think that helps, everyone know. People who go to church and school and child fairly, if we could have a way of communicating what our needs are, people might be, they want to help out if they know what it's going to.
What it's going towards.
Just to clarify, the adopt, that's the gap between what somebody's paying based on their reduced
The TADS program,
and the tuition, not the cost.
right.
So
It,
even when that happens, there's still a gap between the cost of that student and what.
but I guess I look at it from a standpoint, at least that part is being covered, so that the money, I don't want to say that we're losing, but that's not coming in from the students, that at least helps a little bit. Every little bit helps. That's the big thing.
I gotta ask, is that included in our income?
The tuition,
That the adopt, is that
yeah.
listed as income for the school?
But now, does it ever get listed as an expense if we have unpaid tuition? No. It just goes against our expense, period. Okay. Is that something that, not Sheila, Diana, would she be able to help with that?
She's off for probably the whole month of January.
She is. That's pretty awesome. Heidi's going to be, so is that something Heidi could do?
I don't know what Heidi's hours are gonna be.
Yeah, she's,
Yeah, I talked to her yesterday, and she doesn't know what her hours are gonna be while Diana's not off, so.
Okay,
well, my wife applied for retirement, to get Social Security.
yeah, you gotta be
I don't know how that all works, but I've heard a rumor that you can't work more than 20 hours a week.
20 hours.
It's $1 an hour.
You can work as much as you want.
You,
So how do you want to
all right, I'm just trying to make sure that, is there anyone else around that could help you with that? Or is it pretty,
I would do it.
Okay.
It just might have to be after Friday, once I get everything
that's fine. I'm just thinking, the sooner that we get it on board, then that gives us 3-4 months before the end of school, that it hopefully was taken care of.
So do we want to do the envelopes or do the listing of the families and how much money is needed? Or both?
Why don't we do both?
Can we do both? Let's do both.
The max profit for the envelopes is around 4,700, you said, but
Right, right.
yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do both.
Is the audit happening this year or?
June, right?
I gotta think.
Or is it September of next year?
September, we have to have it probably booked by June, have our date and
Yeah. So technically, we do not need to have that audit will go into the next year's budget.
So I know this is a very silly question. I know churches don't pay taxes.
Mhm.
Does the school?
No, it's in,
So would they not qualify then because they're helping pay tuition for tax purposes to get money back from that?
you mean as in a donation? It's considered a donation.
So it's considered.
So, yeah, anything that's contributed in the sense, because they are not getting a service or a,
Okay. Regardless if you're nonprofit, church, or your business, or it doesn't matter?
business, that one I don't know about, but I know when you contribute towards the school or church, if it's tuition assistance, whatever, that technically you can use that as a donation.
Okay.
I know, backing up a little bit, do we have an issue with unpaid tuition or childcare center fees? Is that, I know that sometimes, people get behind or whatever the situation is, and, I guess another question or another way to put it is there an amount that we're forgiving or writing off, so to speak, because it just isn't being collected or received?
Brooke? Do we write any childcare off?
Not for a long time.
Okay.
Okay, because I think at a time, that was kind of the
It was.
practice. So presently, that hasn't been an issue then? Oh, okay. All right, good.
Yeah, I think I remember the situation, but, yeah. Brooke's pretty heavy-handed and doesn't let people.
Yeah, her and Ingrid are made.
What does your husband look like?
All right,
I back up a little bit to, sending this information out, are we sending it to all the other churches that have students here? Asking for them to,
so that's something that will kind of,
So I did hear back from Chris, he cannot make it, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
that's okay.
But-
So that would be something that we could discuss with that idea that Chris has.
And we have a very flexible schedule, so if you want, and I apologize, I didn't know if that would come up today.
It's okay.
Otherwise, I would have had him come, I would have reached out to you, JJ, and asked if he was here.
It's all good. It's all
But
good.
I know that everything is like kind of time of the essence, so after this meeting, I'll talk to Chris and write you and see if we can meet up with you or whoever you want, or if everyone wants.
Yeah.
Just to ask everybody to meet again, just for one person.
I would just,
That's a discussion, that's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
And we need to have it.
so, when you said time is of the essence, I want to make sure that we do this appropriately in the right manner. If we jump into this with all sorts of things all over the place, that's a good way to start flailing about and eventually just fall apart. So making sure that we're intentional about what we're doing, making sure we have an action plan for everything that we are discussing, so that we have a timeline and know who's going to be responsible for things. That's one of the biggest things I want to make sure that. We've had this issue for a long time. That deficit, the $220,000, we know that because Kathy has numbers. 5 years ago, no one knows exactly what our deficit was, and I really don't want to know what it was. I'm gonna be honest.
I got a sheet that shows something.
But that's,
It sounds like, or I sense we're wrapping up.
a little bit. So the last couple of things I have. This is more information. There's been discussion about, do we need a stewardship fundraiser director or marketing enrollment professional? So I did go online and did a little homework, okay? Just, since we're talking about it, I want to know what potentially the price tag would be, okay? So for a stewardship or fundraiser director in the LCMS, that would be a full-time in there, but they have a lot of stuff on their plate. The average per year is $110,000. Now, that's not saying that it's not doable, okay? These are just general numbers. I wanted to make sure, so I went actually and found a Chicagoland Lutheran Educational Foundation team. So there are certain churches or certain groups that have foundations, that the churches have a foundation. And that foundation's only purpose is for raising funds, marketing, things like that. So it's one of those that, is it something that we should just completely wipe off the table and say absolutely not? I don't think so. But I think it's something that we need to look at, again, intentionally, from the standpoint of there may be a price tag with it, but is what that price tag, is it going to pay off, pay us off? There was a part-time admissions and marketing coordinator. So this one actually has the whole job description. That was 20 hours per week with no benefits. But it didn't include a salary. Then I went and looked at what a marketing communications person is. That one's about 67 to 98, but again, that's a full-time. So those are just, again, I wanted to know kind of what, if we were going to talk about, I wanted to know what we're looking at price tag-wise.
And knowing, when I was on NACI, knowing what the economic development director made there
Yeah.
full time.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that number.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we would have to pay that type of price.
No.
Especially if you were to find a college student fresh out of college, you know, they just want that job and they just got all that training experience. I don't know if that is a number that we would be expected to pay.
Right.
So,
It's just a number. I was like, woof, they make more than I do.
right, exactly.
The other part that I have, there's actually a couple other things. This, I'm going to give you guys a chance to read through this. It goes over practical strategies for effective stewardship campaigns, because I think at some point we probably need to start talking about doing stewardship on a regular basis. This one, this I found off of a website that works with churches. This one is actually from the LCMS. It's the Philippians Workshop. I don't know if, Pastor, have you ever heard of this? So our LCMS actually has a group that comes out and does classes on stewardship. And it's usually they try to make sure that more than just one circuit, try to include a couple of circuits where they first talk with the pastors, and then there's the lay leaders. And it's a day thing. It is free with they do ask that they don't charge for the service, but they do ask to help with travel. Just something to take a look at. And last but not least, Jolene. I was going through my emails the last couple of days, and I came upon that letter you sent to us. Yes. From the St. James School families. Do you remember that you sent?
I'm trying
was like 2.5 years ago. No, I think it's a well-worded document that goes over, that talks to school families about why, this was when they raised tuition quite a bit, from my understanding, and the ramifications. Is it coming to mind yet? Well, you're in luck, because it's in this packet, so. The reason I included this is it's just something to kind of also get us thinking about, because the Board of Admin and the Board of Ed has a joint meeting in a couple of weeks, in 10 days, actually. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. No, you did not write it. No, it was something that you shared with us, but I think I like how it is formatted and the wording and such, like, and something that we can potentially use as well. Okay? Pastor, you said,
Well, just, I'm thinking of, I've been in a forum, a meeting, and for me, I don't know about anybody else, I always think in terms of what have I gotten out of it? And the two things is, first of all, where it all started, and in light of, even the whole thing with the giving of this congregation, where you started with figures here, and to see something specific in terms of, all I've had to really go on is the weight of the plates when they're handed to me. And I have noticed they seem to have gotten heavier, but I can't put a number to that. And there's a number here, and that is very encouraging. And so I would hope, I know I'll do what I can to continue to just acknowledge that, to let our people know that, it's not just we have money counters counting, what you're putting in your envelopes, but wow, you're being a blessing.
Mhm.
And we are blessed in many ways, and that's one of the ways we're being blessed. And then secondly, what I'm getting out of this is, JJ, this is focused on you, and how much I appreciate being able to sit in a meeting like this with this or these topics and have a civil discussion about it. To have a civil discussion about it. And I see heads being nodding because you have a past with me where that hasn't been the case, where an individual or whatever has gotten up and walked out in the middle of the meeting or whatever. And it just, even I myself, going back to those days, it just kind of then started to spill over on me where I felt like doing that too. But, so I just, that's the blessing, the other thing I take from this is your demeanor, the way you're approaching this with us in light of your office that you've been elected to. I thank God for that, and I hope I'm not really.
Speaking of elections, everyone just start thinking about that, because that is coming. And I'm just going to throw out there, I am termed out as president, so don't run away if I come asking. So I think our next steps, I want to hear what Chris has to say. And I'll send out an email, anyone that's interested in that. The Board of Ed and Board of Admin are going to meet in 2 weeks, and we're going to start working on our budget from that standpoint. I would like people to go and kind of look through this stewardship. The big thing that one of the things I took out of it was, first off, build a team, okay? So I think that's one of the things that we need to look at, is building a team of people, not just leadership here, but other members from our congregation, and trying to start deep diving into some of these. What can we do from a standpoint of how can we continue to raise money, not just from our congregation, but also from the school and from potentially other churches, with the intent of keeping the school doors, as well as the church and the child care center doors open. Because again, I came to this church for a reason. One of them is right there, Pastor Chris. But because there's a church here, there is a school here. Now, my kids did not go to school here, but I see what that school does, and I see what those kids do, and I see what our teachers and our staff do, and that's something that I don't want to see disappear. So, this is not a problem that is new at all. I think we all know that. But I think it's a time for us to start looking at how can we start working on the finances a little bit at a time. Again, small steps. Because if you try to take too big of steps, that's when things tend to fall apart. So, with that being said, I'll send out a follow-up email, see after you guys have had a chance to go through some of this stuff. And we'll go from there.
Can I make one or a couple final comments?
Please do.
I've been on different boards over the past, what did you say, we've been here 10 years?
10 years.
We came about the same time.
Yep.
So, just so everybody knows. I went back and looked at, this was kind of the financials that we'd gotten for budget year 21-22. And our church budget at that time was 800-ish thousand. So the numbers that you've given us were like 1.5, which is almost double what we had just
4 years ago.
5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. When I was on the board of admin back then, teacher salaries were one of the biggest, what do you want to say, issue that we weren't paying our teachers. And, when I looked at what the salaries are here versus what they are now, that is the biggest increase is actually in salaries. And it's across the board, pastor, teachers, which makes sense because with inflation and everybody wants to get paid more, that makes sense. And our contributions actually are higher than what they were 5 years ago as well. But that hasn't kept up with what I'm going to call inflation. And so, from the standpoint where I stand, I feel we are paying our teachers better. I don't know if we're where we need to be, probably not. But I think we are in a better place than we were back then. But it also takes money to do that, and that's where the deficit, I think, is coming from.
Right.
In a nutshell.
And that's why we need to start working on these conversations and these processes now, so that, one, we can continue to contribute to our teachers. And, we have teachers that are probably retiring within the next few years, correct? And trying to find a teacher with what we pay right now might be hard. And so that's why last year, the teachers all had a significant increase in their wage with the intent of getting them to the lowest part of the district, lowest paid, and we are still not there.
I think we're 23% below the minimum what district would recommend that we should be.
Yeah, I think
Which-
we're closer to 50.
Yeah.
Which that's where it was. So last year there was, yeah. So that,
But again, going back to what you said, we have to take baby steps to get there. You can't just do it overnight, because then we won't be here.
And if we don't do anything at all, we won't be here either.
right.
Correct.
And so that's the reason for this meeting and for some continued meetings and stuff. Okay. So I appreciate everyone taking their time out on a Sunday afternoon. I apologize to all the Packer fans. I don't know what time the, okay. Are the Vikings playing too? I will just say that the Chiefs play at 3:25, so.
Our prayers go out to you.
Yeah. But I do, I also appreciate everything that each and every one of you guys does for our church, our school, and our child care center, Brooke. Because without you guys, we really wouldn't, I don't think we'd be where we're at right now. So, this is not a problem that's new to us. It's a problem that we're going to try to bring up to our forefront a little bit more, so that we're not scrambling in 3, 5, 7, 10 years.
What is the church attendance compared to what it was 5 years ago?
It's up.
5 is hard to do.
It's COVID.
Or in COVID, if you want to say it, but.
I would say within the,
We're doing better than we were 5 years ago as far as attendance. But if we go back further, I mean, this church has had some ups and downs. I mean, at one point in time, this church was bigger than Christ.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is another church. Of the 3 years was recent.
But we're not bigger than them now.
No.
So,
The reason why I ask is because when I brought up earlier about my husband visiting those different states and realizing a lot of those schools are closed. So I know that this is a problem we've had for a long time, but the economics and economy and just people in general and how they live are also different than what they were 10 years ago. So we got to get back to that. So even though, yes, we've coasted and we've survived, we can't take for granted that it will always be capable of doing that either.
Right.
And that's why I think it's critical to have a plan. And like you said, having, don't just jump into it. But we also don't want to take for granted, like, it's been like this for years, and, we can handle it, no big deal, because that's where it gets dangerous. And that's what a lot of those schools that my husband went to thought too. And now almost all of them are gone. And they, I mean, in Arden, they had like, I think it was like 200 students, and now it's gone, where they used to go. So it's just, it's kind of scary, but, if we can have a plan, have a vision, have a big picture, have a plan for now, but also have that long-term plan. I'm not afraid of Rich's idea of maybe we need a bigger school someday. Maybe we do need to have a bigger childcare someday, because obviously people are going. And I think people are afraid of change because you don't know what to expect. You don't know what the outcome's going to be, so we're not going to rock the boat and try. But that's how you just stay where you are too, if you're not willing to make those chances, take those chances. And I think a lot of us, there's people who've been here for years, and they bring a lot of history and knowledge and experience. And then you have new people that have new, fresh ideas, which means new opportunity. And so I think it's a good mix of people that balance each other out, and we need that. We need the optimistic people and the pessimistic people too. It makes us a good family. I look at you guys as family. So I'm excited what we can do here, Once again, I'm sorry.
no, you're fine.
Some of you, Dave Henning, don't see, and anybody else, you remember back in the 70s and 80s, we were worshiping around 700 a weekend. Now we're happy to get over 200. Is there something we I know Pastor Chris has addressed it. Well, again, we had that marketing board, we had that advertising out there. We don't do that.
One thing we didn't have was the broadcasting. People do watch us at home.
Or what Joey just mentioned, or are they just moving away from that?
Now, Now that I did hear an interesting fact, and I don't know where I remember getting it, but one of the most popular selling books in 20 and 30-year-olds right now is the Bible.
Yes. It's coming.
Now, are they going to church? Not necessarily. But at least they're starting to look for answers in the best place possible. So, and can we help with that? It's something we can continue to work on.
There's a lot of, studies or things that come to the conclusion, there's just a general public, terms of organized or institutionalized religion. That's,
Unless it's entertainment,
Yeah.
we're the tradition of worship.
but then, that's not to say that there isn't the traditional that is also grabbing, people are taking a hold of, So, but yeah, I mean, there is, what the.
All you have to do is look at the guy and the gal that sit in the back pew every Sunday. They're high schoolers.
Yes,
No, they're.
And they come here of their own volition too.
Oh, your daughter brought a friend, Joanna.
I know.
Last night, to see these two, he laughs at it, but, and I asked Joanna afterwards, I said, so, how was it? And, she says it was wonderful. I didn't get any more specifics.
So,
It was a piano playing, I think.
well, I'm going to tell on her. The premise behind them coming was they wanted to hear the praise band. But
That Rich, that's Rich.
but I will.
So you all know this.
Richard, yes?
So often in the praise band at rehearsal, and you ask the kids about this. One of the members says all the time, here's what they do on the recording. And I always remind them, and always remind each other, if you're musicians in the church, we aren't here to make a record, we aren't here to give a concert. We're here to lead worship, and if you're not joining us on a song, then we are doing something wrong. And I always bring it up. No, maybe that ought to go over into all these other ideas we have. We aren't here to say, oh, aren't we great?
Can I even get on you for a moment?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, because then it surfaced that you were under the impression that the praise band not only had the Saturday after Christmas off, but also the next Saturday. So that's why you were.
I'm off next week.
No, you're not off next week. Oh, you are
So-
off next week? Well,
All right.
what's going on?
Oh, have them come again. They'll hear us eventually.
I have a feeling she'll be back.
They'll hear us eventually.
All right.
Oh, tell them to
I believe you.
check out the 15th.
So,
Double check it. We'll double check it. That's another.
There you go. Yeah.
January, they didn't put 24 on the schedule, so that's
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Oh, boy.
So you're gonna think that you guys are cool.
Oh, I don't know.
So they're off next week too?
I thought it was on my schedule. I'll have to double check.
Hey, Rich, we gotta have a meeting. I'm kidding.
I'd like to play eventually.
all right. So I'm gonna ask, we will go ahead and adjourn, but before we do that, say the Lord's Prayer, and then anyone that's interested, I do have that, the rest of that information. So, let's bow our heads. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. All right. So I'm gonna.
I used this in a sermon recently, and the HOPE as an acronym is